Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Josh Rincon. I'm the program director here at Avance Latino, and I'm super excited because we have a special guest today. We have Natalia Cañas who's joining us today. It's a special interview where she's going to talk a little bit about her career, how she got there, some tips and advice if you're a young person that's watching and you're going to be going to college, or maybe you're in high school right now, or you're already in college. This is going to help you immensely. So be sure to share this video with your friends and family so they can be empowered too. And without further ado, we're going to go ahead and start this interview with Natalia Cañas.
Great. Nice to meet you. Nice to thanks for having me on the show. My name is Natalia Cañas, and I'm a research and policy associate at the National Alliance for Hispanic Health, and I work here in Washington, D.C. A little bit about my work. I lead a lot of the research efforts on behalf of the Alliance, and we work directly with the NIH on a project called All of Us. And so we do a lot of outreach to the Hispanic community and research with the community too.
That sounded like very intense. That's sounds like a lot of work that you're doing, a lot of important work you're doing for the Hispanic community. So that's awesome because we serve mostly the Hispanic community here at Avance Latino. So we're excited, the work that you're doing. I know we met at an event, I think it was last year, late last year.
Mhm.
So it was good to have that connection. And I'm curious, it sounds like an amazing job title, everything you're doing. I'm pretty sure you had to go to school. You had to do a couple of stuff before you did that. So I'm curious, where did you go to school? What did you study at school?
Yeah. So I got my bachelor's degree. So I went to undergrad in Wisconsin. I studied at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and I double majored. So I wasn't sure what I wanted to study yet. So I studied two different things at once. It was Italian language and literature and political science. So I studied those two things, and then I went and got my master's degree after taking a 2-year break here in Washington, D.C. I went to American University and I got my master's in international development with a focus on refugees and migration.
You did a lot. You did a lot. So before we go on to the next, how many languages do you speak? Because if you studied Italian, you probably speak more than one.
Okay, so I speak 5 languages actually.
Oh my gosh. Can you name all five of them? That's super
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. So I speak English, Spanish, French, Italian, and Portuguese. So they're a little bit similar, but it
Hmm.
definitely takes time to learn them.
That's awesome. And then you were going to school in Wisconsin and then DC. So you got the cold weather. I'm over here in California with the
Yes.
hot weather. That's so interesting. And you took a 2-year break and then you went to get your master's. So you have your bachelor's, you have your master's. Now, did you have an idea of what you wanted to do? Did you have like a clear path? Okay, this is my dream. This is my vision of where I want to work. Or you just tell us. Did you have a plan while you were in school? Someone was guiding you, maybe a mentor or something, or.
Yeah, that's actually a really good question because I was one of those people who went into undergrad, into college, not knowing what I wanted to do. I really didn't know. All I knew was what my interests were and that I wanted to get my degree because I knew that it was important to get a professional job that I would, be interested in later on in life. So, I went in and I knew I loved languages. So my school actually had a book that had all of the languages that they taught in that year, and I literally opened it and I looked at one. I said, "Okay, I'm going to take that language." Originally, it was a different language, but then I spoke to my mom, and she, encouraged me to learn a language that was similar to Spanish, just to kind of start off. So I said, "Okay, let's try it." So I ended up taking an Italian class and loved it. So that's kind of how that happened. In political science, I was always interested in the world and politics, and I grew up moving around my whole life. So, like, that was something that I wanted to continue doing. So I studied that. But still, I wasn't sure. So when I graduated from college, I took 2 years off because I was just trying to, like, play around. What can I do with an Italian degree? What can I do with a political science degree? And I ended up teaching English in Italy for 6 months, or sorry, 3 months. I had studied abroad in Italy for 6 months. That's why. But so I did that, and I decided, teaching was great, but it really wasn't for me. But it was great because while I was there, I made a friend who was a migrant from Nigeria, and we became pretty close. Actually, we still talk, and he's like family now. But basically, speaking to him and getting to know his story really made me realize that not only, am I also a migrant, right? But I'm interested in this theme of migration and how can I work with my community to make it better. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of how I went to grad school because I wanted to keep learning. And so that's, I went and got my studies, my master's degree there. And while I was there, I worked with a mentor. You mentioned mentors. So I worked with a professor.
Mm-hmm.
She's amazing. She's also like family now. We always have each other's back. But yeah, really great professor, which I encourage all of the people who are watching this to, when you go to school, really make those relationships with your professors because they're out to help you and to guide you. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely use those up to your advantage. Um, and yeah, so I worked with her and I did a lot of research with the Latino community. So that's kind of how I ended up where I am now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is I worked with her, I did a lot of research. I ended up becoming a published author on an article with her. So that was a big deal for me. And yeah, so now I'm at the National Alliance for Hispanic Health.
It's a lot to unpack, but first, thing I wanted to say to be piggyback of what you basically answered is it okay to not have an idea while you're in college? I think most people would say, yeah, I mean, most people don't have an idea, right? Just like you even had to take a break. You had to go study abroad over there in Italy and teach English, which is, it sounds like fun. Sounds like definitely fun. Like, I wish that's something I would have done. Study abroad. And congratulations on publishing. That's awesome. That's great. And then you work with the Latino community. You transition, and it all led to what you're doing now, which is awesome. And
Thank you.
you kind of hit at this because I was gonna ask you have any internships while you're in school, and while you're attending school, because then I'm part of the people watching right now. Is like, do I need to take internships? Should I volunteer? Or should I just do education? Just focus on that? What would you say your experience was like? Did you take internships while you were attending school?
Yeah. So I did. I did do an internship while I was in school. It was actually required for my master's degree.
Mm.
So I was studying international development, like I said. And so I found an international development organization. They're called Mercy Corps. And actually, that was my first job. After my internship, I got a
Uh,
job with them. But then I transitioned into the current role I'm in now with a different organization. But yeah, so I worked with them for about 6 months was the internship, more or less, and it was really great practical experience. I think as somebody who initially wasn't sure what they wanted to do, and then in my master's I knew a little bit better, the internship really helped me solidify that interest and understand if that was really what I wanted to do, and help me grow professionally, learn how to be in a work environment. Because before, it's kind of scary transitioning
mhm,
from being a student to being a full-time employee or like in a professional setting, right? Because
mhm,
that's always the goal, that's always the dream, but there's definitely a transition period there. So yeah, the way that I got it was there were different like site visit opportunities through my
mhm,
university to go to their office and learn with a group of people from my school what they do, like exchange contacts, networking, and then like I applied. So that's kind of how it worked. Um, and yeah, I was really, really interested in it. And I highly recommend internships because, you know, ideally, if they're paid, mine was paid.
mhm,
Um, but, even if you can afford, being a um, unpaid intern,
mhm.
that's still a really good opportunity if you can do it. If not, obviously go a different route like I did. But it's excellent experience for your professional growth.
Yeah, and I like that everything you were saying there because I feel like people study a degree, and then they finally do the internship. Like, oh wait, I hate this,
Mhm.
or maybe I love
Mhm.
this. So definitely, you get that exposure, and you really solidify whether you really want to do it or maybe it's not for you. So yeah, definitely, internships are a great thing. And I was gonna ask what do you think helped you the most in getting like for example you said you worked at Mercy Corps, is that what you said?
Mercy Corps.
Mercy
Mhm.
Corps after getting your internship after finishing school. So I'm assuming internship helped the most, but what other stuff helped you get work opportunities? Maybe from Mercy Corps, what helped you land the job you have now? What is the
Mhm.
advice maybe you'd give a young person watching?
Yeah, I think it even goes even before Mercy Corps, right? Because I was
Mm-hmm.
working with that professor. And so I think like Mercy Corps definitely helped me gain the tools on how to learn to be in a professional environment and to, know how to like just do the day to day at the office, right?
Mm-hmm.
And gain the skills like working with people, team skills, working on my own, and then also virtually, right? Because this was during COVID at the beginning of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then I would also say that my work with my professor was really what kind of helped me land this job mostly because I did research with the Hispanic community. So I guess what I would suggest for the people watching this is to really like when you go to school, if when you decide to go to school, really try to make the most of it,
Mm-hmm.
really try to like speak to your professors, go to office hours, figure out what you like, because like me, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I really didn't, but I followed my passion, and my passion led me to where I am now. And like passion mixed with your skill and like what you're good at, and what is something that you can see yourself doing in the future, or what is
Mm-hmm.
something that would bring you financial stability in the future, right?
Mm-hmm.
So thinking about all of those things, but really going after, what your interests are and tapping into those, especially in undergrad,
Mm-hmm.
because, in undergrad, you have that ability to be flexible with what you study.
Mm-hmm.
And if it weren't for that ability for me to do that, I don't think it would have led me to now where I am. Right.
And yeah, and those are some great tips, great advice. I was actually going to
Yeah.
ask you if you have any advice for the audience watching, but I think you hit every single thing, and I think that's really great for the people watching. And I mean, unless you have something else that you want to share for someone that's about to start college, or maybe they're still in high school, they're applying and they're getting ready for that. I don't. Did you have anything else? Because I think you hit all the good points right there.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think it's really awesome that those who are watching this are like either considering or are already applying for college or maybe already got in. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's an amazing decision. With a degree nowadays, it's really helpful getting like a job that is maybe more interesting to you or maybe pays a little bit more. So definitely happy that whoever's watching this is considering it for sure. And I think like be excited. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a time when you're going to learn so much about yourself, and you're going to like really be able to explore what it is that you want to do with your life. And it's really important. So,
Mm-hmm.
dive right into it. Don't be scared. Like there will be times that it'll be like scary with schoolwork and stuff, but like, you'll build your team, your friends, your groups of professors that you work with. So just go at it head on.
And it is a very exciting time. I already finished school too, and it was definitely super exciting. I'm not trying to say that work, when you start working, it's boring. I think it's even more fun because I don't have to worry about the tests and exams and all that anymore. I think that's the biggest relief, right? Like you don't have to worry about it
Yes,
anymore. But
that is nice.
super nice. I mean, just I was gonna ask, what's something that maybe these young people after school should be excited after. It's fun, right? Working in, finally getting starting your profession, working in that. Like, what I guess I want to know what's like the most funnest thing about your career now. Was something because I know that you travel a lot too. Because I know you came to the event all the way here in LA, all the way from DC. So sounds like maybe you travel, you do other stuff. What's fun about your job? Now that we talked about all the, good information to know, but what's fun about it? What makes it fun?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's an awesome question. So, yes, I love the traveling aspect. I love that I can, travel for work, and it's compensate like the
Mhm.
company pays for it, right? That's nice.
You don't have to pay out of your
Um,
pocket.
Yeah, yeah. So definitely that's so cool because I've been to LA, I've been to San Diego, Denver, Colorado. Where else have I gone? Some of my colleagues have gone to Puerto Rico, some have gone
Wow.
to like El Paso, not El Paso, sorry, Houston, Texas, San Antonio. So all these places, right?
Hmm.
And so there's a lot of opportunity to do that at my job, and I'm really excited. I think next I'll probably be going to Portland, Oregon. So excited to do some hiking. That's really fun about my job. I really enjoy that. And then, of course, the other thing is like financial independence.
Mm-hmm.
that, basically like I'm able to pay for the things that I need in my day to day. And
Mm-hmm.
I can now kind of help my family instead of them helping me. So that's
Mm-hmm.
really nice.
That's awesome that you're giving back. All those years your family maybe helped you, maybe through school and all that, and now you're able to give back. And I think that's the two rewarding things. The fun stuff from work, and be able to have financial independence after you finish school, and get your first job and start your career. And it's super awesome. And I thank you, Natalia, for sharing everything that you shared. It was really good tips, really good advice. I'm sure a lot of people watching are gonna maybe be interested more about the work you're doing. Um, and briefly, if you can just share one more time where you're working, that way if someone's like, "Oh, I want to check out where she's working," maybe that's somewhere they might want to work in the future. Just the whole name, and I know it's all the way in the DC. Maybe most people that are watching it from LA, but maybe they want to move to DC. I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. I mean, and that's the thing is like if you're applying to schools in DC or if you eventually want to do internships in DC, that's totally possible. Obviously, with my organization, it just depends and
Hmm.
like what we have open, but just in general, DC has so much opportunity. So, so yeah, so my name is Natalia Cañas again, and I am a research and policy associate at the National Alliance for Hispanic Health.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Natalia.
Yeah.
We appreciate that you joined us today. It's been a pleasure having you, and hopefully we get to see you again. And thank you for sharing your advice and tips for everyone that's watching. I know it's gonna help a lot of young people that are watching, kind of give them an idea what should they expect, and just because we've done a couple of these already. So, but with different people, different careers, that way they can see that it's not just one career. There's many of them. There's many routes, and it's not just one. So thank you so much again, and everyone that's watching, please share this with your friends and family. It's gonna empower. Maybe it's gonna open their eyes to see that there's other opportunities out there. And to the young people watching, thank you for watching. Keep going. This is an exciting time in your life when you're going to college or whatever route you end up taking. Enjoy it. Make the most of it. I don't know if you have any final remarks you wanted to share, Natalia, before we finish today.
Yeah, probably similar to you, it's super exciting. I'm really happy for you and keep going like, I you have everything in your power to be able to do all of this and, schooling is really important. Your education is really important. As Latinos, we probably all have heard our abuela, our mom tell us, like la educación primero, go do your studies. So, it's really, really important. And as a fellow Latina, if I can do it, so can you.
Hey, I love that. I love that. That's awesome. I think that's great. That's inspiring. Yeah, if she can do it, you can do it. We can all do it. All together. And that's why we're called Avance Latino. We can advance as a Latino community. So, thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Natalia, and take care, everybody. We will see you in the next one.